That Luke Hughes kid is something else, just like his brother, who also had a big outing against the Carolina Hurricanes in game 3. We have a series once again, and the New Jersey Devils are giving themselves a fighting chance. We have a lot to talk about in today's episode of Locked On Devils. Buckle up, everybody. Also, I have some big news to share.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Elliott scores! Oh, Stevens stepped up, nailed him. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here on Locked On Network. I'm your host, college hockey play-by-play announcer, Devils writer for Pucks and Pitchforks, and also part-time credential media member, Trey Matthews. My apologies for not posting an episode immediately after the Game 3 victory for the New Jersey Devils. I did watch the game. However, soon afterwards, I had to pack up and do a bit of a travel day because I'm back in my normal studio. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I'm back on the East Coast, and I have some good news. I got credentialed for Game 4. So when you're listening to this episode, I might be making my way to the Prudential Center. So if you see me pacing around pregame or during an intermission, whatever the case might be, don't be afraid to come up and say hi. I love meeting new people. So just wanted to give you guys that slight bit of news. So once again, did a bit of a travel day, still watched the game, and I am back on the East Coast, going back to the Prudential Center for Game 4 and hopefully a few more playoff games, because the Devils, similar to what happened in round 1 versus New York Rangers, they're making this a series once again. So there's a lot of storylines I need to discuss in the previous matchup for the Devils, because this game, and I'll talk more about it in segment 2, was on drugs, because the Devils came out victorious by a score of 8-4. Their offense came out to play. However, Vitek Vanecek didn't really have all that good of a showing in between the pipes for the Devils. So the win kind of exonerates us talking about it. And also, there were a few players, including Luke Hughes, who were able to have big showings. So this is what we're going to focus on in segment 1. Like I do with every post-game recap after a win, I'm going to highlight some players that really caught my eye. Then once again, in segment 2, I'll talk about the game in general. And like I do with every post-game recap, in the third and final segment, I'll compare the stats and give the Devils a letter grade, and also talk about some of my quick snippets going into Game 4, because once again, even though the Devils trail 2-1, they are making this a series once again. Now, like I said, there were a lot of different goal scorers for the Devils. Obviously, we have to talk about the Hughes brothers, because Luke Hughes was able to rack up a couple assists. He was also able to man down on the defensive side of things for the Devils, which kind of surprised me. And then Jack Hughes, his older brother, he was doing what he was doing during the course of the regular season, because Jack Hughes finished off with 4 points, and he also had a hat trick, but not the traditional hat trick. So we'll talk about that momentarily. But let's start off with some shout outs, because unfortunately, due to limited time, I can't get to everybody who scored for the Devils and players who caught my eye specifically. So want to give a shout out first and foremost to Michael McLeod, because he was able to get his second shorthanded goal during the course of the playoffs. He scored his first shorthanded goal against the New York Rangers in the previous series, and then once more against the Carolina Hurricanes. So that BMW line, Bastian, Wood, and McLeod, all three of them have scored throughout the course of the second round against the Carolina Hurricanes. And to match with the Hurricanes' physicality, that's exactly what we need to see from the BMW line. So just a pow from Michael McLeod, because now once again he joins Miles Wood and Nathan Bastian of members to score for the Devils during the course of the second round. Now, another player that we need to give a shout out to is someone who I did not want to start in the game, but he was ready when his number was called, and that was Brendan Smith. So on Jack Hughes' first goal of the game, Brendan Smith was able to get the primary assist, and that was Brendan Smith's first point since January 19th against the Seattle Kraken. So Smith, like I said, did start in the game for the Devils. I didn't really want him out there, because sometimes he could be a liability. Sometimes he gets unnecessary penalties. And sometimes he, like I said, he doesn't make the right decision while on the rink. But once again, Jack Hughes was coming down the lane. He passed it back up top for Brendan Smith. Smith saw that Hughes still had a wide open opportunity to score. So Smith quickly passed it on back to Jack Hughes, and Jack Hughes was able to go top shelf on Frederik Andersen. So Brendan Smith once more, just trying to show like why he could be vital at times. Now, do I want him to start in game 4? My answer is still no, because even a blind squirrel can find a nut at times. But let's talk about some players that did catch my eye. So the first player I want to talk about is Timo Meyer. Now, I know a lot of you are probably tired of me just hyping up Timo Meyer, because I hyped him up a lot in the previous episode, because I was saying that Timo Meyer's physicality is heavily underrated. It should not be overlooked. And I saw glimpses of it in game 2, especially in the first period. But sometimes I like it when I'm right, guys, because Timo Meyer scored his first goal during the course of the postseason. He scored the first goal of the game in game 3. And what happened? Well, I talked, like I said in the previous episode, I said, even if Jack Hughes is not able to find the back of the net and score, he's still going to get his points if he's paired alongside Timo Meyer. Because here's what I envisioned. I envisioned that Jack Hughes is going to come down the lane. He's going to use his speed to the best of his advantage, but Timo Meyer is going to use his big body to get deep and get near the net. So what Jack Hughes can do is just try to maneuver the puck near Timo Meyer, and Timo Meyer can be a bully down there, beast and feast, and try to find the back of the net. So thus, Timo Meyer is able to break his scoreless drought. And then for Jack Hughes, he's still able to rack up the points. And that's exactly what we saw in period number 1. So I was like, yes, Timo Meyer's aggression is helping, because what happened? Well, Jack Hughes is going deep into the offensive end. He's running into some trouble, and he's able to win the one-on-one battle. And he's able to just pass it weakly over to Timo Meyer. And Meyer, once again, is able to take a couple steps in and once again score on Frederik Andersen. So Timo Meyer just showing his aggressive nature. And I'm not the only one who's noticing it, because according to Mike Moriel, who wrote a recent article in regards to Timo Meyer, he said that Meyer's scoring production is down, but he's creating each shift in the top 9 role in the playoffs. He's second on the Devils with 35 shots on goal, leads the team with 27 hits, and is 4th among forwards with 7 blocked shots, all while averaging 16 minutes and 45 seconds of ice time. Moriel also spoke with Lindy Ruff about Timo Meyer's production. Ruff said, quote, "Look at the physicality. That's something we didn't have. An elite goal scorer and a big physical guy, a guy that can really bully his way down low. He gets into people, is tough to play against, and a guy who could turn his body and protect pucks where physically that's not really possible for some of our other guys." So once again, guys, I know a lot of you are probably going to write in the comment section saying, stop hyping up Timo Meyer, stop just trying to portray something that isn't there, but it really is there, guys. Timo Meyer's physicality is underrated. I know you want to see the goals. I know you want to see the assists, but please do not underrate his contribution. And I'm going to make a bit of a hot take, because Jack Hughes was able to score twice in this game. I think I alluded to early on in the episode. And I think the plan for Jack Hughes was to try to initially to get the puck once again near the crease area so Timo Meyer can finish. Because if you look at the replay, what happened? So Jack Hughes, once again, he tries to knock it on in, and it goes off the chest protector of Kochetkov, and Kochetkov subbed in for Andersen, because Andersen unfortunately did not have a good outing for the Carolina Hurricanes. So just to give some clarity, Kochetkov makes the save initially on his chest protector, but it went like underneath his armpit or something like that. And Timo Meyer didn't even have to touch it. So Timo Meyer was in the right place at the right possible time. But in this case, Jack Hughes, once again, able to score and get his second goal of the game. So that's my hot take. But moving from Timo Meyer, let's talk about the Hughes brothers, because the Hughes brothers took the league by storm. They just sent shockwaves throughout the NHL world. They were featured on ESPN because the Hughes brothers had a good showing in game 3. Luke Hughes was able to rack up 2 assists, and Jack Hughes, like I said, he was able to finish the night with 4 points. So for Luke Hughes, my initial thoughts going into the game was that I was a little concerned, not because I doubt Luke Hughes' ability, but just the circumstances that are going against him, because he's a rookie. He's only played in a couple NHL games. The 2 teams he's played against are the Buffalo Sabres and the Washington Capitals. So 2 teams that are not in the playoffs. So I was like, okay, it's game 3. It's a must-win scenario for the Devils. I know Ryan Graves is out for an injury, so I think the decision was a little easier for Lindy Ruff. But I'm just like, do we really want to throw Luke Hughes into the pack of wolves? Because how much help can he really benefit for the Devils? Because my thing was simply this, which is Luke Hughes is an offensive-minded defenseman. He gets a little jumpy on the defensive side of things, and sometimes that puts him out of position. Well, in this game, Luke Hughes surprised me because in period number 1, he looked very comfortable. Like he was making the right plays. He was generating enough looks off his stick, and he was not hindering the execution for the Devils. Once again, I think I used the same word when I described his outing against the Sabres and also the Capitals. He looked really comfortable. He looked like he knew what he was doing. He was cool, calm, and collected. Wasn't perfect because he did make one mistake in the game that did end up resulting in a penalty shot for the Carolina Hurricanes, but we'll talk about that in the second segment. But Luke Hughes in this game, he really needs to take a bow because he was able to get the primary assist on Damon Severson's goal. So what Hughes did was he set up Severson good enough so Severson could put the moves on and find the back of the net in the second period. So as soon as that happened, I was like, Luke Hughes has to be credited with that assist. And his brother Jack was given the secondary assist. So the Hughes dynamic is working better than I anticipated. And I think Luke Hughes is starting to make a case for himself because similar to how we talked about Akira Schmid in the first series against the New York Rangers, what was the turning point for the Devils? It was game 3 when Akira Schmid was starting. And now in this series, in game 3, if the Devils are able to come back and win this series, I think similar to Akira Schmid, we're going to be talking about how Luke Hughes was the pinnacle player that turned the series around because he's replacing an injured player. He has limited experience. And I was just like, hopefully he doesn't get left in the dust by the Carolina Hurricanes because once again, he's an offensive-minded defenseman, but he held down his end of the fort really well for New Jersey. He was playing good minutes on the power play. And how do I know? Because he was able to get the secondary assist on Andre Palat's power play goal. Now, speaking of the power play, wasn't really all that good for the Devils because they let up a lot of shorthanded goals, but we'll talk about that momentarily. So Luke Hughes, great outing. And just his third game in the NHL, it comes at a very crucial moment because that was pretty much a must win for the Devils. Now, his brother Jack, 4-point performance, 2 goals. And like I said, he was able to help Brendan Smith get his first point since January because Jack Hughes passed it on back to Brendan Smith. Smith quickly passed it right back to him, and Hughes was able to go top shelf on his first goal. And then for Jack Hughes' second goal, I guess it's sometimes better to be lucky than good, and sometimes it's good to be lucky because I don't think it was in his intent to score his second goal because I think he was just trying to pass it out in front for Timo Meyer to clean it up. But nonetheless, he was able to get his second goal, and he got a couple assists as well. So he got the secondary assist on David Severson's goal. His brother Luke, like I said, got the primary. Combination between him and Timo Meyer, Lindy Ruff needs to stick with that if he knows what's good for him. But I think the main storyline that a lot of people were talking about for Jack Hughes was his little bit of a scuffle match between him and Sebastian Aho. So what happened? Well, Aho was kind of slashing and cross-checking him a little bit, and Jack Hughes got fed up with it. So he decided to do a WWE move and wrestle Aho down to the ground. Now, here's the thing. He wasn't given a fighting major. He was giving a 2-minute roughing. At the end of the game, I said Jack Hughes got the Gordie Howe hat trick because he scored, he got an assist, and he got into a fight. A lot of people were saying that was not a fight because he didn't get a fighting major. And let's face it, it wasn't like the most intense, bloodthirsty fight we've seen throughout the NHL. In fact, there were no punches thrown. It was just Jack Hughes shoving Aho down to the ground, getting on top of him. So a lot of people are just like, I don't think that quantifies as a fight. But in my eyes, to Jack Hughes' standards, that is a fight. So I'm going to give Jack Hughes the Gordie Howe hat trick in that case, because that was out of character a little bit for Jack Hughes. I'm not saying it was bad, but let's face it. How many times have we seen Jack Hughes lose his cool? How many times have we seen him get into the face of somebody? How many times have we seen him put his hands on someone else that's not for the a specific hockey play? Like, we don't see him do that. He's usually very calm, cool, collected. And there's a reason why he's nominated for the Lady Byng Award. And there's a reason why he doesn't spend too much time in the penalty box. So in that case, guys, to Jack Hughes' standards, that is definitely a fight. If it was someone like Eric Haula or Timo Meyer, Brendan Smith, Curtis Lazar, someone else, I'm sure I would be saying like that's not a fight because I'm sure they've had stakes tougher than that quote-unquote fight that Aho and Hughes had. But to Hughes' standards and due to his track history, I'm going to count that as a fight for Jack Hughes. So once again, Timo Meyer, Luke Hughes, Jack Hughes, the Hughes brothers really took that game by storm. And I also have to give another shout out to Nico Hischier because he scored his first goal since April 2nd. It's been a long time coming for our captain. So the star players came out to play for New Jersey in game 3 once again because that was very vital. Now, let's talk about this game in general for the Devils because, like I said in segment 1, I described this game as sort of on drugs because the Devils came out victorious 8-4. Their offense came to play, and it was like they caught lightning in a bottle because the Carolina Hurricanes had no answer for some of the goal scorers for the Devils. Now, somebody asked me in a private DM, like, was that the best game of the year? Because I'm in a group chat with a few other Devils personalities, and basically someone just messaged and said, like, was that the best game of the year? And I figured, you know what? This game was interesting. There was definitely a lot on the line. So why not talk about that in a future episode? So was that the best game of the year for the Devils? I don't know what you guys think, but personally, I'm going to say no. It's not even close. I don't think that was their best game of the year. Now, there was a lot at stake, and there was definitely a lot riding on that game because, once again, had the Devils hypothetically lost that game, they go down 0-3, and they're really in a hole. Like, because similar to what would have happened in the first round against New York Rangers, had the Devils gone down 0-3, most likely they're not going to win 4 straight. I don't want to doubt them, but I'm sure that's not the ideal circumstance they want to put themselves into. This game was wildly entertaining, and it was great to see that the Devils were able to score 8 times because if you guys need some sort of reference, the last time the Devils scored 8 or more goals in a playoff game, you would have to go back to April 22nd, 1988 against the Washington Capitals, in which the Devils came away with a 10-4 victory in Game 3 of the division finals. So once again, this game was wildly entertaining on the offensive side of things, but let's not overlook Vitek Vanecek. Vitek Vanecek did not have a good performance in between the pipes for the Devils because a lot of people are going to overlook it because he did come away with the win, and the Devils are now once again in the series and they're giving themselves a fighting chance. But this Game 3 performance, at least from the goaltender perspective, is not the same as it was in Game 3 against the New York Rangers because if you guys recall, Akira Schmid really stepped up his game. He was able to limit the goal-scoring opportunities for the Rangers, made grade A saves, and once again, the Devils were able to come away victorious in overtime and earn their first playoff victory since 2018. So, like I said, this game was entertaining, but one thing that just drives me up a tree and just prevents me from saying that this was one of the best games of the year is that the Devils gave up 3 short-handed goals. It should go without saying, that was the most amount of short-handed goals they let up in a playoff game in franchise history. That is unacceptable. Now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Martinook got a penalty shot that was short-handed because what happened? Well, I talked about Luke Hughes in the first segment. I said he made one big mistake that I definitely need to talk about because Hughes tries to get a little too fancy. He does a turnaround pass in the offensive end for the Devils, and Martinook was able to locate it, and he swiped the puck away. The puck was intended for Dougie Hamilton, so Martinook is off to the races, going down to the other side of the rink. Dougie Hamilton is on his trail, trying to pop the puck on free, and the referees blow their whistles, and they decide to give Martinook a penalty shot. Now, before I talk about the blunder for Luke Hughes, I just want to talk about that call assessment by the referees because I don't see what constituted for that to be a penalty shot. I looked at the replay multiple times, and I think a lot of people can back me up on it. I didn't see anything egregious that should have awarded Martinook a penalty shot in my eyes. So I think that was a completely missed call by the referees because I've seen plays similar in that regard and the player isn't given a penalty shot. So I really don't understand what their mindset was in that case because there was like little to no, well, there was contact, but it was very minuscule. It was very little. And it's not like Dougie Hamilton like full on used his stick to like wrap it around Martinook's body or anything. So first and foremost, I will give the Devils the benefit of the doubt in that case. That should not have been a penalty shot assessed to Martinook, but it's a two-way street. Luke Hughes, I get that he was feeling himself. I get he was feeling very confident. And like I said in the first segment, he was very comfortable out there, but he got a little too comfortable and it came back to bite him. Now, I think he makes that pass 9 times out of 10, but that 10% just came back to bite him, and he turns the puck over, and once again, Martinook is off to the races and takes it down to the other side of the rink. So, yeah, he made a mistake, but for the most part, Luke Hughes' game was really good, and I was very impressed. That was just the one mistake that he needs to learn, and just say, keep it a little bit more simple in that sort of aspect. But it still doesn't excuse the fact that the Devils gave up 2 other shorthanded goals to the Carolina Hurricanes. So their power play has to do a lot better in terms of execution. And I get that the Carolina Hurricanes coming into this series, they had the best penalty kill throughout the course of the Stanley Cup playoffs, but that should not be an excuse to be giving up multiple shorthanded goals. So going back to that question, was it the best game of the year for the Devils? Absolutely not, because it gave me PTSD to last season, in which the Devils were able to score like 5 or 6 goals on anybody, but people forgot about it because what happens? They let up 8 goals because of poor goaltending, poor circumstances, and just maybe just one too many blunders and brain farts by their own team. So once again, this game was wildly entertaining, and I'm glad that they were able to get the victory, but there were too many chances in which they gave the Carolina Hurricanes some life to possibly amount to comeback. So when the Devils score 8 goals, that really should be a blowout. And I guess technically you can say it was a blowout 8-4, but at the same time, the Hurricanes should have only gotten like 1 or 2 goals. And like I said, stop giving up shorthanded goals. And Vitek Vanecek was not sharp in between the pipes. So as exciting as these goals were, as happy I was for Luke Hughes, as happy as I was for Timo Meyer, Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, all of them, it still doesn't excuse the other side of the coin, especially when it comes to goaltending. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the game in general. Wildly entertaining, but the Devils, they should not be satisfied. They need to clean things up, especially if they want to tie the series in Game 4 and give themselves, once again, another fighting chance. Now, I'm going to talk momentarily about my expectations moving forward and what I think the Devils should do in terms of their goaltending situation. But before we continue, let me tell you about Indeed. So Indeed is a hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help do it all. With Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job, according to Indeed Data US. So once again, you want the winning team, you need to go to Indeed. So start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/lockedon. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. And now let me tell you about Built Bar. So looking for a delicious treat but don't want all the sugar and calories? Then you got to try the best tasting protein bar ever, Built Bar. Seriously, it's the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. So if you're like me and you want to eat a little happier and healthier, try Built Bars and Built Puffs. Built Bars are healthy and they taste amazing. Seriously, they taste so amazing that you won't think that they're actually good for you. So what makes Built Bars so good? Well, for starters, they're covered in 100% real dark chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and cookies and cream. Not sure how Built Bar does it, but these bars only contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait around to get a box. For years, I've been talking about ordering Built Bars at Built.com, and now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club, while you can get the specialty flavors still at Built.com. That's right. Head to the nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate bar, or coconut puffs. If you're close to Sam's Club, run in and grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter puff, and churro puff. You can thank me later. Built Bars, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. Okay, so I know I'm a day late and $1 short, but let's compare the stats, and I'll give the Devils a letter grade and talk about my expectations for Game 4. So shots on goal category, 34-30 in favor of the Devils. Face-off percentage, 56% to 44% in favor of the Devils. Power play, Hurricanes were 0-2, but once again, they had 3 shorthanded goals. Devils were 1-4, thanks to Andre Palat. And remember, Michael McLeod was also able to get a shorthanded goal. Hits, 46-33 in favor of the Hurricanes. Blocks, 18-13 in favor of the Canes. giveaways. Devils led that department 8-2. So if I had to give this game a letter grade for Devils, honestly, I'm going to give them a B- because the offense was really good. They got the win. They got the job done, but it doesn't exonerate their poor execution at other facets of the game. So that's where I stand in terms of this overall execution from the New Jersey Devils. Now, my expectations for game 4 is that the Devils, you need to clean it up a little bit, obviously, and get out often early. And I guess just don't underestimate the Devils. And who do I expect to be in net? I think you got to go with Akira Schmid because, like I said, in game 3 of the last series against the New York Rangers, Akira Schmid had a phenomenal outing. But in this game 3 against Carolina Hurricanes, Vitek Vanecek was bailed out by some good offensive execution. And once again, the Devils, the star players are now here to play. Keep that momentum going forward. Keep that aggression going forward. And Lindy Ruff, don't overadjust. Don't overthink it. Because I think the Devils, they can definitely make this a series once again. And if I've learned anything from this Devils team, do not count them out. So let me know what you guys think going into game 4. And once again, I will be at the Prudential Center covering the game in the press box, and I will be pacing around the Prudential Center at times, maybe looking for souvenirs. And also, I'm always open to trying new things. So if you have a unique food suggestion at the Prudential Center, let me know, and I'll try to stop by and give it a try because, like I said, I'll try new food at least once. So once again, hope to see a lot of you at the Prudential Center for game 4. I think the Rock is going to be bumping, and I couldn't be any more excited. Hope to give you guys some decent behind-the-scenes sound bites. But as for today's episode, that's all the time I have for you. So continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day, New Jersey. I'll catch you in the next episode. Go Devils. Thanks for listening once again.